What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're here for episode number 9 of the My Team journey, this time around for the Canadian Grand Prix, a track where I actually rate my chances pretty high, actually, because this track is a bit of a weakness for the AI. They aren't really that strong around here, and this is more of a player track. From what I've seen in other games and other people's career modes, and I actually love this circuit pretty well, actually, and I tend to do very well here even on my best days. So if I could bring my own game to this weekend, we could actually rate our chances pretty well of getting a decent result, maybe top 15, top 14. A bit sort of towards the top of the midfield, or to maybe even close to the points would be our aim for today. So going into this weekend, I don't think we have any other upgrades to go on the car. A lot of them probably won't get on not until about France or Austria. I think Austria would be the next round of upgrades. I don't think we'll be having anything go on for Silverstone, which is coming up in the next episode. A track that the AI are so OP. Silverstone is literally an AI OP track. So as you can see there, we're almost the slowest car on the grid. Even if we get close to the points in the race, this car is a long way. But we're putting our car in a place where, honestly, it shouldn't be if you compared to the performance index. So here's the results from the season so far. Carlos Sainz leading by 3 points over Charles Leclerc, 4 points each, or 4 race wins each. But Carlos has had a third place. So if the championship was to be decided now, if they were level on points, I think it would be Leclerc's championship. That would just be in theory anyway, if the championship was to egg because of that third place, because Leclerc would have had more second place finishes than Carlos. But well, can anyone stop the Ferraris this weekend? Honestly, the way that they've been going, I find it pretty hard to see them even coming to a grinding stop, if that makes sense, or coming to a stop, I should say. So we've got 1,600 resource points to spend. We could focus some of that on more tyre wear for France. France is a bit of a high tyre wear track. We probably could consider that, but we'll do some upgrades later. Let's go to qualifying. Alrighty then, it's go time for qualifying. Let's see how far we can get. This track is also a pretty easy place to really corner cut. If you really cheese some of these corners perfectly, you can get away with finding extra time, which I think we might have done at the first chicane. I'd say the first and final chicanes is probably the easiest place to cut corners around. Yeah, so first lap, 12.1, bit of a banker lap. Chuck all to ourselves. We'll come into the pits again. We'll chuck another set of tyres at this. I want to make sure I'm literally one of the last to cross the line around here. What's the gap to... So we're going to need to find about 5 tenths to get into Q2. I feel like we can, but considering we haven't had a good qualifying car, I do feel that, we might be able to find a little bit extra. If we can really stitch a lap together, I feel like we can find a perfect amount of time. However, going offline to try and let some of the AI pass isn't really going to help. And once again, AI not overtaking, even though they're either on an out lap or on a fast lap. We're going to see if we can grab some slipstream off of Lando into the final chicane. A little bit of understeer, maybe the tyres aren't quite up to temperature, into hot lap, DRS open, and let's see how close we can stay with Lando. I don't think our chances are going to be that high. Through turns 1 and 2, not quite as good. Maybe missed the apex there at turn 2. Maybe the tyres aren't quite up to temperature. Didn't take 3 and 4 like I did in the first one. So we're 10th down as we enter the second sector. Turns 5 and 6, or is this 6 and 7? I'm not too sure. But yeah, through the second chicane, yeah, to be honest, this lap was pretty scruffy, in all honesty. I wasn't really finding the time that I wanted. I definitely found the time coming out of the last chicane, but it's only a 4/10 improvement, and I don't think that will be enough to knock us into Q2. It's P20 on the grid. Well, to be honest, that's almost where we stand. Compared, if you compared that to the performance index. But we're ahead of our teammate, and we are ahead of Nicholas Latifi. So I'd almost expect to be ahead of Latifi, and in all honesty, Albon might be the one who could be our nearest rival for this race if we can't pull our finger out somehow. But we'll see what happens. There's 35 laps ahead of us. Let's see what happens.
It's time once again then to go racing here in Montreal, the second largest French-speaking city in the world, and home since 1978 to the Canadian Grand Prix. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. An immense lap from Carlos Sainz yesterday puts him in pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Russell, Hamilton, Sergio Perez, and Norris, Ricciardo, Fernando Alonso, Ocon, and Kevin Magnussen. Leclerc, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Mick Schumacher, Guan Yu Zhou, and Bottas. Tsunoda, Gasly, Lance Stroll, and Sebastian Vettel. Albon, Skip, Oscar Piastri, and Nicholas Latifi. I'm joined again today by none other than Natalie Pinkham. Tell me, Natalie, obviously there's a lot of development work that goes on with these cars between Grand Prix. You know a lot about how test drivers and race drivers go about their business. So how do these roles differ in your eyes?
Interesting question. There are two very different mindsets. In the old days, of course, they used to cover up to 15,000 kilometres of testing in a season. And that role would be more about working for the team, trying to help them improve the car and drive as systematically as possible so that the data could be analysed in the most consistent way. When lining up on the grid for a race, however, a race driver's frame of mind is all about what they can get out of the situation on that day, and the car is the tool to help them achieve those goals.
Well, let's hope we have a car that can achieve some of those goals. Welcome, guys, to the grid of the Canadian Grand Prix. 35 laps ahead of us. Simple strategy today, mediums to hards. I did think about using the softs at the start, but that means we would have to do a very long stint on the hards. Even though an undercut would be beneficial, it wouldn't really last too long, as the tyres could drop off at the end of the race. Here we go, 5 red lights at the Canadian Grand Prix, and we are racing. Good launch up against the Williams and the two Assets. We're already side by side. We're going to go 3 wide into turn 1, and we've nearly rear-ended Bottas, or is it Zhou? No, it's Bottas that we nearly rear-ended. Shaw goes around the outside of Vettel and us. We're touching with Vettel. They're 3 wide up ahead. How's this going to work out? I'd be surprised if all 3 of those get through. This guaranteed contact there is. There's still 3 wide coming out of exiting the first sector and into the second sector, and it's Gasly that gets out on top. What a crazy start that was. 3 wide ahead of us. We picked off Bottas and Vettel, but we didn't pick off the next 2 up ahead. Look at them all being cautious on just braking or just reacting to what everyone else does. But that allowed us to get up a little bit closer, nearly rear-ending someone else again. Here goes Stroll. He's going to go around the outside of Gasly. That's not really where you want to be. We were defending a little bit from Bottas, which we had to as we end the first lap. We got a good run out of the last chicane, and we got Stroll. We're going to have a look on the inside up here. Gasly into the first chicane. Oh, he locked up Gasly, and he's lost out to Stroll as well. So he's lost 2 places in 1 corner. So that's 2 for the price of 1. Thank you very much. Wow. What a crazy start that was. Let's look at about 2 minutes of replays here. It all started with this 3 wide action. But Gasly, he was sandwiched in that, and somehow he's emerged. He's the one that's emerged in front of that pack. That's miraculous. How no one's died in all this. I thought there was almost going to be an aeroplane crash or even the track being blocked. So it's amazing how everyone's got through. I think this is Albon. We're on board with that's my teammate going around the outside. Chase view from Bottas. Yeah, he backed out of that. He had the inside, but who would have been on the outside for the second chicane? So yeah, if he tried to hang around in there a little bit longer, he would have guaranteed to be gone. So yeah, there was always guaranteed contact between these 3, and somehow amongst all that contact, there hasn't been. You know, I think everyone's escaped with superficial damage, if not no damage at all. And wow, this is a view from Albon, or is it Latifi? It's one of the Williams. Vettel locked up, and that's allowed the carnage to sort of take place. And they're still going side by side into the first chicane. If you go side by side into a chicane, you guarantee contact. So it's either you get it done cleanly, or you get it done by getting contact. So yeah, we cheesed. Yeah, we corner cut both chicanes, but you know, our line was pretty tight, and to be honest, I wanted to, you know, avoid hitting the world champions. We go up the inside of Zhou Guan Yu into the hairpin, and we get that move done. The AI seemed to be pretty conservative going into that hairpin, but maybe they get a better run than us. Look at the slipstream that those 2 are getting, and we're not even at the DRS window yet. We let Stroll go, and we're side by side with Zhou. We've corner cut the last chicane again, just only because I want to avoid contact between the 2 of us. And wow, so now that DRS is enabled, we can kind of settle into yellow flag up ahead. I wonder who that's for. Is someone going very slowly or not? But yeah, is there anything happening?
Green flag.
Maybe not. We'll get a replay up in just a second. There was a yellow flag that came out for some weird reason. So here's a replay. This is say McLaren of Lando Norris. He's done a 360. He's not done a 360 at turn 1, so that would be the reason for the yellow flag, and he gets away without hitting that Alpine. Here's a replay. So he's hit the apex all normally, and he just lit up the accelerator too much, and he comes out right in front of Esteban Ocon. It's who nearly chopped off his front wing. Here's the nose of Ocon. It was actually a little bit further away than what I was originally thinking. I thought there was almost guaranteed contact, or pretty close to contact being made. So exiting the last chicane to complete lap 7. Tsunoda is into the pits already. He started on the soft, so that's almost a guaranteed 2 stop he's on, unless he got to the hard. The reason why I didn't want to start.
Green flag, we're racing again, let's go.
Yellow flag behind us again. It is for an Alfa Romeo of Valtteri Bottas, who's lost an engine, and he pulls off to the side of the road. And he's out of the race at the end of lap 8. Unfortunately for him, I just checked with Mark to see if we had any front wing damage. I think we grazed the wall of champions.
Caution.
Another yellow flag? What's going on in this race? This race is jam-packed enough as it is. There's someone's going slowly up ahead. It's a Haas of Kevin Magnussen. Shaw slows up. We go up the inside into the second chicane, and job done. And the safety car's been deployed. We timed that to absolute perfection. So Magnussen and Bottas are out, both with engine failures. And because that's multiple cars stopped on track, the safety car was deployed. Although the safety car was deployed before Magnussen had even stopped. So yeah. This could be awkward for because I think some of the front running teams started on hards, Verstappen, I know, was 1. Both Ferraris started hard, so this is almost a bit of an awkward moment, or awkward situation here for those two, because if everyone comes into the pits, which they actually have, so they're going to be on fresh hards, and the others are, and the cars in front are going to be on 10-lap old hard tyres. Although Fernando has actually stayed out, so Fernando and myself have stayed out to get track position. So we're currently P5, but it's not going to last too long once the field bunches up and we get ready to go racing, which is going to be at the end of this lap. So if we can, just kind of stay with these guys and maybe kindly get out of their way. Although Leclerc didn't have a great exit coming out of the last chicane, his tyres may be a little bit more colder than ours, and we're going to go around the outside at turn 1. We've touched the grass, which means that we had to run a little bit wide, but we do get P4, just about this contact between the two of us, and it is P4 for the taking. But yeah, that's not going to last too long. Look at Leclerc, we kept an eye on him and we backed out of that battle. So yeah, but actually that safety car has actually come at a bad time. Well, it came at a bad time for those, but I didn't think that the hards would get to the end. During that safety car, I was actually thinking about a pit stop, but I wanted to stay out and just wait for the pit window to open. Perez, he's pitted for softs. There's no way those softs are going to get to the end of the race, so he'll have to do another stop. But yeah, the guys that had started on hards and Fernando that stayed out, we're in a bit of a tight situation here because as I said, under that safety car, I wasn't too sure whether the hards would even make it to the end. So our aim right now is to stay out. Well, not for much longer. We're in the pits at the end of lap 16. We're going to chuck on the hards, and hopefully, with the advantage of 5 or 6 lap fresher tyres, we can be able to close down the guys ahead of us. So by us staying out and going an extra few laps than everyone else around us, they would have been on fresher tyres than us by about 10 laps. So we come out behind Stroll in 17th and just ahead of our teammate Oscar Piastri. So Oscar's in the mix with the Aston Martins. If he can, just kind of cling on to my DRS, and we can cling on to Stroll.
Okay, here's some information on Latifi. They've got some kind of mechanical problem.
Latifi's got a problem of some sort. There he is, going real slowly. Oscar's got a good run ahead of us, and he's got to time this to perfection. He gets past us in the DRS. If he can get a good run here, he might get pretty close to Stroll, or at least gain something on Stroll. We've cut the last chicane once again. Just the understeer that we got in that going through that chicane. So now that we're behind Oscar, but not for much longer, he locks up going to the second chicane, and that's going to leave him vulnerable to Sebastian Vettel. That's put a mark on those tyres. I'd be surprised if he's survived that much longer. This is Latifi, who's slowed down for some weird reason. I don't know why. Here's a replay of the side, and apparently his right rear's gone. So the fuzziness of the right rear meant that he's picked up a puncture. That's really strange. And, well, that's probably about as close as you want to get to making contact. Here's a slow-mo. Look at that. We were so close to making contact. If I was a little bit closer, I reckon there'd nearly be guaranteed contact. Lap 20 now, we're nearly rear-ending Stroll. We're coming up to P15 at the moment. I don't know anyone ahead who we might still catch up, but I think a few others came into the pits, and now we've been promoted up to P13 at the moment. So if we can just stay with these guys for now, it'll be 13 laps to go this time by. But just quickly going back to that safety car, that safety car came at an awkward time because I didn't know whether I wanted to pit, but at the same time it came out at a perfect time because fuel burn was actually pretty harsh. So I think I didn't have much spare fuel left, so that safety car actually kind of helped me out a little bit. But I think we are lining up a move on Lance Stroll, and we get the move done for P12 in this race. P12 in this race, and we're going to get some DRS off of Mick ahead, but Lance is a lot closer to us than we are to Mick, so he gets a perfect run, and we let him go through the last chicane, but we get a cleaner run out of the last chicane. We're yeeting our battery. We've got no battery left. Is Lance going to leave the door open? Yes, he does. That's an open invitation for us to go into P12 once again. Now our aim is to get past Mick Schumacher. We've got 10 laps to go, or 11 to go as we cross the line. So we do have a bit of time, but if we could try and get into his DRS and just wait for that perfect opportunity, that'll be, you know, our time to strike. But it did take us a few laps to get past Stroll. If it takes us any longer for us to get past Mick than us on Stroll, then it might only be 12th place in there. Even though we're on fresher tyres, we're not getting any closer. But one thing that I did pick up during the race, because we're running pretty high downforce, even though this is a bit of a power track, we're running 22-29 wings. I don't know if that's a bit much for a power track, but just watch this as we come off the hairpin. So we're close enough for him to be in the DRS, and just watch this all the way down the straight. Our DRS is open. We gained nothing. We gained absolutely nothing to Mick there, but we got a good run out of the last chicane. But yeah, we're not quite close enough to even think about a dive bomb. We're too far back. We know where we can gain the time. Look at Mick, he's very slow. So maybe the downforce is kind of helping us a little bit, but I don't think it's really helping much into turn one, or maybe even to the heavy. So we got a good run out of the third chicane, but we're not quite close enough at the moment. My aim was to get a good run out of the last chicane, or even the third chicane, but we just weren't close enough to even, you know, make a move. But with 4 laps to go, this race has kind of flown by, even though this race has actually taken a bit of time to edit, even though there wasn't really much going on throughout the second half of this race. But this time we got a good exit out of that chicane. Are we thinking about a move? We've actually been pretty strong into the hairpin all race, and we do get the position. We park the bus on the apex, we leave him high and dry, and we do get P11 in this race. Now all we need to do is something dramatic to happen ahead, and we can get another points finish in this race. But I'm not sure if that's going to happen with 4 laps to go as we cross the line. And we get a double dose of DRS, so we can get outside on 1 second and break away with our fresher tyres. 3 laps to go now, and yeah, we're holding station. We haven't really breached over a second and a half to the cars behind. But yeah, because we're running high downforce, maybe the AI are running lower downforce. But yeah, if you didn't see the gap from us to Mick, just on going into the last chicane on lap 33, even with Mick was nowhere, or probably was nowhere near far enough behind us to get DRS. So that was crazy how much time he pulled back. So last lap now, we're just going to bring this car home, maybe utilise a bit more track limits. I would love to know how many penalties we would have got if we had strict corner cutting rules on. I reckon probably close to 30 seconds worth of penalties. But one person who's not going to be worrying about penalties is this man, George Russell. He exits the final chicane. He is going to end Ferrari's winning streak this season. He takes the Canadian Grand Prix and his first ever win in Formula 1. George Russell wins from Carlos Sainz, and Max Verstappen rounds out the podium. George Russell, what a win. He must have came in on that early safety car for the Haas, and he's come home to win his first Grand Prix and end Ferrari's 8-race winning streak. And for us, it's close, so close to points. It's P11. That's a darn good result.
And that's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
From the second last row, third last on the grid, to P11, you'd have to say that's a pretty good result, considering what happened in that safety car where, it could have been worse.
A truly magnificent drive and a great performance from the entire team to secure victory here in Canada. So Natalie, what do you think helped them deliver this result?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection. A shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it.
Finally, Ferrari's winning streak comes to an end. And it's not Max Verstappen or Sergio Perez, who are the second best team in the performance index. But it was brilliant strategy from Mercedes and George Russell. They pitted under that early safety car and went onto the hards, who hung on from what it looked like. Even if we came in on that early safety car, would we have made it to P11 anyway? We definitely be close, maybe a top 15, top 16, but boy, we got further up the order than what we originally planned. So, well, Oscar, he didn't really. He looked like he kind of fell away in the end. Joe and Sonoda, it looked like they did a two-stop. I'm not sure. I didn't think that Joe started on soft. I know Sonoda did, so he was a guaranteed two-stop. But maybe Joe had to make a secondary stop somewhere, which Oscar wasn't able to hold off. But it gave us good track position, and they didn't get anywhere near close to us, which is kind of good news for us in a way, if you guys know what I'm saying. But wow, I mean, to get P11, even if we stopped under that early safety car, I don't think we would have gotten as high up the order than what we did. We were running pretty high downforce in that race. So does that have anything to do with our pace? To be honest, I don't know where our pace was gone. It simply wasn't there today. We were just getting out dragged on the straight. So maybe our car was just a little too draggy. Meaning being that our car was a lot slower on the straights. So that's something we're probably going to have to rectify setup wise for Silverstone if we're going to be OP in a straight line. But if we make a car OP in a straight line, it means that we're in the corners. We're not going to really have much to fight with because in some high speed corners especially, you're going to need that downforce to help you get around there, especially around Copse, Stowe, and especially the first couple of corners. That's where you really need the most downforce around Silverstone. If you don't have that, then you're not really gonna get anywhere in that race. But I'm kind of expected to be fighting at the back this time at Silverstone, because I just don't see a way how we can make such an OP car and not be dead last. But that's all to discuss in the next episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe if you are new to the channel. Give this video a massive thumbs up. Until the next one, for the British Grand Prix, George Russell's home race, and Lando and Lewis as well, I'll catch you next time.